What follows are the musings of a guy who... Stop the video. Wait a minute. Hi, I'm Robert from Surrey. Rob has asked me here, no I didn't, to invite you all on a little journey that I call putting the Jag Special back together after a year on the rotisserie. Now some have said that I'm Rob's evil twin, but that's not true. I'm not so much an evil twin as a bemused simulacrum. So come on for the ride. Hopefully you'll find it edifying. Maybe get a chuckle. And as Rob is so fond of saying, anyway.
Hi, I'm Rob. It's garage time.
As may be surmised, building a car from scratch is a daunting and difficult task, a commitment of years. Over the course of that time, as you're busy figuring out answers to all the varied engineering problems you've got to solve, the car will spend a long time in a disassembled state and you kind of forget that it's actually a car. But eventually you get to the point where you can put the car back together and you can steer it and step on the brake and it stops, and it's quite a lot of fun. And Rob got to that point of the project over the last few weeks, and so here's how that went. Step 1. Chassis comes down off the rotisserie and the front suspension, brakes and steering are installed. A little bit of phone video today, since I did not bring the GoPros out with me, but I thought it would be nice to see that the chassis is once again, it's off of the rotisserie right there. It's going to get put down onto some jack stands, and then it's going to get put down onto the chassis car with its new steel wheels. So it all went pretty much as the prophecy foretold. Down onto the jack stands, chassis car in, jack stands out, and then because it was daylight left, Rob started putting the front suspension back together. And he got the depowered Jetta steering rack back in, and then the very next morning Rob got on with the front brake installation. Which caliper goes where? There we go. Ooh. Put a little bit on the shank and a tiny little bit on the threads, because, you know, rusty goodness. We don't really care for that, but hey, here we go. One of my favorite tools ever. Okay, now this guy is coming over here. Up you go. This piping and stuff is from the mid-80s era Jaguar, and that was a period when Jaguar was transitioning from standard fittings to metric fittings. And what is interesting is that you can find a mix of standard and metric fittings all throughout the car. And this, of course, is a Jetta steering rack, and it uses the exact same threads as the Jaguar steering rack, so the Jetta rack is actually works fine for this. So we're going to put that together next. The Jaguar tie rod end going onto the Jetta steering rack. Go up in there. There. Much better. Oh, that feels much better. There we go. go, much better. That goes in there. This is gonna go here. And then you come down here and go here. So, there we go. Another one. Oh man, that depowered rack turns much more nicely. Yes, it does. Works mint. Step 2. Rear axle goes back into the chassis. I gotta do some acrobatics. Yeah. Where's my MGB hubcap? Oops, this. We hit them with a hammer. It's tool building time! Before I get involved with lifting the axle back up into the chassis, I have to have a way to lift it up. I do have in my possession a screw type scissors transmission jack, which I have used successfully to take that thing in and out a couple of times. But it's sort of a pain in the butt. And it got me I got a transmission lift that is supposed to go on a jack. So let's... Oi, right, this is ever so captivating. I'm just going to snap my fingers and move it along. Magic! And there it is, my fantastic new hydraulic transmission jack. It's April School Vacation Week. I got a lot done today. The chassis is going together nicely. Sorry for the extreme close-up. As I said, the front suspension is all done, the steering's all put together, the brakes up to the front end are all plumbed, and the unions are all tight. I've got my new hydraulic transmission jack all put together, ready for lifting the axle into place. And I've got my come-along all set up to lift the axle and place it on the transmission jack. But I've run out of time today, and I gotta put some other things away, and then call it a day for Monday, whatever this is, the 18th of April, 2022. See you tomorrow. This thing's gonna go, come on. This thing's gonna go right here underneath the come along. Rob would like to take this moment to apologize to his viewership for being rubbish at YouTube videoing. He acknowledges that the scene is horribly backlit and that he's using the come-along hoist upside down, pushing up on the lever as opposed to pulling down on it, which would be much more mechanically efficient, and he knows that. He's not actually mocking us, I don't think. Then again, you never know. He is that sort. Axle is on the lift. Okay. Success. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you to today's match. In this corner, at a solid 265 pounds of iron, steel and aluminium, ready to crush any errant digit, it's the Jag Special Rear Axle. And in this corner, at a crusty and bony 185 pounds, he ain't got the power, but he does have the tools. It's Robb versus the Rear Axle. Oh, look at you. I think we got it. I think we got it. Going up. Let's shove the chassis forward. There. Oh, we're in good shape. I don't know if you can see way up in there, but the mounting platform, the mounting surface on the top of the differential is very close to the axle mount. There's plenty of space. There's still enough space between the knob on the tilt adjuster and the chassis tube, so I don't think I'm going to have to cut it to make space for it. What I got to do now is align the bolt holes, the mounting bolt holes with the threaded bolt holes, and put the bolts in. Yeah, I think we're close. We're very close. It really is the hardest part of the whole process. We got it. And then let's try another one. Putting all the loose bolts first. A little bit of anti-seize. There's that. Got it. How about that? 3 bolts. I mean, they're dos, tres, cuatro. Yay! I forgot that I can't put the I can't put the Watts link on when I have the shock mount in place. Come on, out you go, and we will let you fall down like so. Out comes this. Now, one thing you will notice is that this bolt, this is the stock Jaguar bolt. Part of the head is cut away, and the reason part of the head is cut away is so that it will fit into the slot past this shock absorber boss. You go in here, you go in here, you go on here. Now we're going to go do the same thing on the other side. Well, we get the driver's side back together as well, without quite so much of a hassle as the passenger side. I've left the adjustment tubes loose so that they're just right and not binding. And then we can move on to getting the bottom mount bolted in. There we go. This is passenger. Okay, with a hammer, get out of the way. I think it's so groovy now that people are finally getting together. Oh, that looks good. So anyway, the rear axle is in. The infamous and ever wonderful 1/2-inch 13s that hold the top of it in. They're all torqued to 80 foot-pounds. Front and rear lower control arm brackets are tight. The cross tubes are in. All the bottom bracket bolts are tight. So this rear end is captured both top and bottom nice and securely as I designed it, and it's not going anywhere. I really want to put the seats in, put the steering wheel on, put the wheels on, and roll it around. Before any of that happens, I have to get this brake union figured out, and then fill the brake system with brake fluid and bleed it out, and then I can roll it around. So tomorrow we're gonna get those brakes all fixed up, and hopefully by tomorrow afternoon it will have functioning brakes on it. Awesome. Step 3. Finish rear brake lines, fill the master cylinder, and bleed the brakes. Today we are going to make this end of the rear brake line, which used to go right here when this fitting was mounted on a plate right there, or right here rather, and fix it, bend it over so that we can screw it down into that fitting, and that's our program for today so far. I think I can. So what we're gonna do is pop it out of the chassis clip and bring it up here, and then see if such a thing is even possible. How does that? Oh, that doesn't look terrible. These are a special kind of pliers that I got from Eastwood, because I buy a lot of Eastwood stuff. They have two sizes. They have 1/4 inch and 3/16 inch brake line jaws, so that you can bend brake line into tighter bends in a more gentle fashion than you ordinarily would. You can also just bend brake line over your fingers, and it'll work pretty okay. Here I was thinking I was going to have to cut the pipe and maybe even possibly make a new pipe, and so far so good, as they say. Now let's go get some brake fluid. I have my Mighty Vac tool. This is designed to draw brake fluid through the system. Jam the hose onto the bleeder, and then set it so the cup is relatively level. There we go, I like that. Pump some vacuum into the system, and then keep pumping vacuum. And I see lots of bubbles, but I also see fluid. We'll just let it keep drawing. We'll watch the level in the master cylinder because we can, and then close it off. I used the power bleeder, but that feels pretty good. Turn the rotor, and the brakes work. Step 4. Install the seats and harnesses. You nitwit. The seat frame is in. Now let's install the seat.
seats.
Step 5. Install the wheels and put the Jag Special on the ground.
We're under hardship conditions again today. As you can see, it's another gray April day. But we need to get things ready for getting the Jag Special back on its wheels.
Oh right, let's all watch while Rob has a bit of fun with his new camera. This ought to be a real laugh riot.
And we're finishing the thing that we started last Monday, which is the reassembly of the Jag Special and getting it on its wheels. And we've got a new toy to play with. Yeah, ooh, we're gonna zoom in on each other. We're not driving you today. We're about ready. Oh, don't knock the shelves over. Come here, you. Move those out of the way so they don't impede the progress of the nation. Every time he's back, come on, come on. Now, one of the things I did with these rims, these Torque Thrust Ds, is I bored out the lug holes so that they would fit the shank on these stock Jaguar lug nuts. What it does is makes it so that I can't use an impact socket because impact sockets are too large in diameter to fit in the recesses on these Torque Thrust Ds in 7/8 or 22 millimeter, which is what the size of this lug nut is. So I have to use a regular socket. There's going to be a lot more room in the garage.
Uh-oh, these are a bad idea.
Come on. Here we go. Onwards and upwards. The chassis card is coming out. There it is.
And now, Rob would like to present a moment of potential disaster.
Well, I'm sure you all saw that. Good thing the jack stands were there.
Notwithstanding any possible disasters, here's a part you've all been waiting for so patiently.
Jag Special sees daylight for the first time in 2 years. Try not to scrape that fantastic torque thrust D. Look at me driving it with the brakes. That's cool. Well, how about that, folks? It worked. Out we go. Well, all that practice getting out of the three-wheeler. Let us view its majesty. Ain't this the most badass thing you ever did see?
And just to make sure, here's one last bit of horribly backlit video. Come on, up the hill you go. I got it all done. The Jag Special is now a roller once again, and I'm able to sit in it and happily make car noises. Vroom, 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 vroom. Yeah, I want to thank you all for watching, and see you around the channel.
1, 2, 3, 4. Well, my daddy, he raced stock cars a long, long time ago at New England's fastest quarter mile, good old Westboro Road. He and Mom would rally around in their MGTD, but they bought a Porsche 356 to you, my mom and me. I was raised by gearheads, this apple fell not far from under daddy's tillage, messing around with cars.